Okay, we're doing notes for 13-5, sum and difference identities for tangent. Last time was sine and cosine, this time tangent. So we're going to start by actually deriving the tangent a plus b formula. We're going to use, we know that tangent equals sine over cosine, so sine of a plus b over cosine of a plus b. We know from the last lesson that sine of a plus b is going to give us sine a cosine b plus cosine a sine b. And I'm going to divide this by cosine of a plus b, which is cosine a cosine b, minus sine a sine b. Now this would work, but we'd like it in, it'd be nice if we could streamline this a little bit. And so what we're going to do is we are going to multiply this times 1 over cosine a cosine b on top and bottom. 1 over cosine a cosine b. So I'm going to distribute this 1 over cosine a cosine b to both terms on top and also to both terms on the bottom. Alright, so I'm going to write fairly small here to get all this in. Here is my big fraction line. I've got sine a cosine b over cosine a cosine b plus cosine a sine b over cosine a cosine b. On the bottom, I've got cosine a cosine b over, multiplied it out, cosine a cosine b, minus sine a sine b over cosine a cosine b. So all we did was just distributed 1 over cosine a cosine b to each of the 4 terms, the 2 on top and the 2 on the bottom. So let's see what happens here. In this first term, I've got cosine b and cosine b cancel, leaving me sine a over cosine a, which I know is equal to tangent of a, plus, on the second term, I've got cosine a divided by cosine a, cancel out, leaving me sine b over cosine b, which is tangent of b, over. On the bottom, cosine a cosine b over cosine a cosine b, everything's canceling, leaving me 1 minus, now here nothing cancels. I have sine a sine b over cosine a cosine b, but what I can do is kind of split this apart and think of it as sine a over cosine a, that's tangent a, times sine b over cosine b, that's tangent b. And there we go. Tangent a plus b equals tan a plus tan b over 1 minus tan a tan b. And so we have that right here. We could easily go through and just change the signs, and you would see that if we put tangent a minus b, that we'd get tangent a minus tangent b over 1 plus tangent a tangent b. Alright, I'm not going to ask you to verify this again or anything like that, but I wanted you to see that we weren't just pulling this out of thin air. Okay, so now we're going to use it. So let me pull this up a little bit. Okay, so I've got tangent 30 plus tangent 15 over 1 minus tangent 30 tangent 15. This fits the formula for tangent a plus b, where a is 30 degrees, b is 15 degrees. So this equals tangent of a, 30 degrees, plus b, 15 degrees, a plus b here. And 30 plus 15 is 45 degrees. And we know from our unit circle tangent of 45 degrees equals a positive 1. Okay? That's all we'd have to do there. If tangent a is equal to 1/3, tangent b equals 1/2. Find tangent of a plus b and tangent a minus b. So using our formulas, we're going to say tangent A, I'll kind of be real specific here. Tangent A plus tangent B over 1 minus tangent A tangent B. So tangent A we know is 1/3 plus tangent B is 1/2 divided by 1 minus 1/3 times 1/2. Now there's probably several different ways. I'm sure there's several different ways you could do this. Here's the easy way to do it. Our common denominator with 1/3 and 1/2 is 6. So let's multiply numerator and denominator by 6. So we're going to distribute 6 times 1/3, 6 times 1/2, on the bottom 6 times 1, and then 6 times this product of 1/3 times 1/2. So when we do that, we're going to have 6 times 1/3. 1/3 of 6 is 2, plus 6 times 1/2. 1/2 of 6 is 3, over 6 times 1 is 6, minus, notice if I multiply these together, I'm going to get 1/6, right? 1/3 times 1/2 is 1/6, and if I multiply that times 6, well, the 6's are just going to cancel. 6 times 1/6 is 6/6, which is 1. So my answer here, 2 plus 3 is 5, 6 minus 1 is 5, 5/5. The answer is a positive 1 again. All right. For tangent of A minus B, the only thing that's different are the signs. 1 plus tan A, tan B. So again, it's the same numbers, but I'm just changing signs. So 1/3 minus 1/2 over 1 minus 1/3 times, 1 plus 1/3 times 1/2. I'll multiply times 6 over 6. I'm going to get 2 minus 3 over 6 plus 1. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. So negative 1/7 for tangent of A minus B. Alrighty? Okay, let's move to the back. Recenter a little bit here. There we go. So only one problem, but it takes a little work at the beginning to figure out what's what. I'm finding down here, if you look at what we're looking for, sine of alpha plus beta, sine of alpha minus beta, cosine alpha plus beta, cosine alpha minus beta, and tangent alpha plus beta, tangent alpha minus beta. So I need sine alpha, cosine alpha, tangent alpha. I'm going to need sine beta, cosine beta, and tangent beta. I need all 6 values. So let's look at what they give us. If pi halves is less than alpha, is less than pi, is less than beta, is less than 3 pi halves. Okay, so this is telling me that alpha is between pi halves and pi. So alpha is in quadrant 2, and beta is between pi and 3 pi halves, so beta is in quadrant 3. Okay, I know that cosine alpha, negative 3/5, that's in quadrant 2. Tangent beta, positive 12/5. Remember, tangent's positive in the 3rd quadrant, so that's 3rd quadrant. So let's kind of draw alpha and beta here separately. So here's my alpha. I know that cosine is negative 3/5, so it might look something like this, where I've got negative 3 and 5. Let me put it out here to the left. You'll be able to see that all right. So cosine alpha equals x over r equals negative 3 over 5. And so there I put my negative 3 and my 5. And if we work this out, if I do x squared, negative 3 squared, plus y squared equals 5 squared, I'm going to find out that y squared is equal to 16. Square root of 16 is going to be positive or negative 4. Since I'm in the 2nd quadrant, I know that's going to be a positive 4. Y is equal to positive 4 here. So my sine of alpha, I've already got cosine alpha. Sine of alpha is 4/5. And my tangent alpha, which I'm going to need later, is y over x, 4 over negative 3, negative 4/3. All right. Now for my beta. So beta is in the 3rd quadrant, and it might look something like this. So I've got y over x tangent beta is equal to y over x equals 12 over 5. So 12 for the y, but I know that both of these are negative in the third quadrant. So I've got negative 12, negative 5. If we work this one out, x squared negative 5 squared plus negative 12 squared equals r squared. We're going to get 169 for r squared. Take the square root, I get 13. R is always positive, so it's a positive 13. So sine alpha is negative 12/13. Excuse me, that should be beta. Sine beta is negative 12/13. Cosine beta is equal to negative 5/13. And so there's everything we need. I've got cosine alpha with the other two alphas down here. I've got tangent beta with the other two betas right here. Alright, so let's jump in. Sine alpha plus beta. That's going to be sine alpha cosine beta plus cosine alpha sine beta. So sine alpha, 4/5, cosine beta, negative 5/13, plus cosine alpha, negative 3/5, sine beta, negative 12/13. So I've got negative 20 over 65 plus negative times negative will be a positive. 3 times 12, 36 over 65. And that gives me a positive 16 over 65. Sine alpha minus beta. Sine alpha cosine beta minus cosine alpha sine beta. Same numbers. Change the signs, 4/5, negative 5/13. This time it's minus negative 3/5 times negative 12/13. So I'll still have negative 20 over 65, but now it's going to be minus 36 over 65. So negative 56 over 65. Notice still greater than negative 1. Does not go below negative 1, so that's good. And likewise, my positive value is less than positive 1. Okay, let's do the cosines. Cosine alpha plus beta. Cosine alpha cosine beta minus sine alpha sine beta. So cosine alpha was given to me, negative 3/5. Cosine beta, negative 5/13. Minus sine alpha, 4/5. Times sine beta, negative 12/13. So I've got negative times negative becomes positive 15 over 65. Minus 4 times negative 12, that's going to end up being positive 48 over 65. And 15 plus 48 gives me 63 over 65. Pretty close to positive 1, but still staying underneath. Remember, it cannot be above positive 1. Cosine alpha minus beta, cosine alpha cosine beta, plus sine alpha sine beta. So negative 3/5, negative 5/13. This time plus 4/5 times negative 12/13. 15 over 65 minus 48 over 65 is going to be a negative 35 over 65. Excuse me, that's not right. Negative 33 over 65. Negative 33 over 65. All right, last two, tangents. Tangent alpha plus beta is going to be tangent alpha. What am I doing here? Tangent alpha plus tangent beta over 1 minus tangent alpha tangent beta. All right, tangent alpha is negative 4/3 plus tangent beta, 12/5, divided by 1 minus negative 4/3 times 12/5. My common denominator is 15, so I'm going to multiply through times 15 over 15. So 15 times negative 4/3. All right, 15 times negative 4/3, that'd be negative 60 divided by 3 is negative 20. Plus, this one I'm actually going to do canceling first before I multiply it. 12/5 times 15, 5 goes into 15 3 times, and then 3 times 12 is 36. That's a little bit easier. 15 times 1, 15. All right, and then 15 will just cancel out with the denominators, and so this is going to be minus negative 4 times 12. That's going to be plus 48. So negative 20 plus 36 is 16. 15 plus 48 is going to be 63. So you might notice here, I've got all positive values for sine alpha, sine alpha plus beta, cosine alpha plus beta, and tangent alpha plus beta. Everything's positive. That means alpha plus beta is going to give us an angle in the first quadrant. For tangent alpha minus beta, tangent alpha minus tangent beta over 1 plus tangent alpha tangent beta. So I've got negative 4/3 minus 12/5 over 1 plus negative 4/3 times 12/5. Go multiply times 15 over 15. And once again, I'll get negative 20. This time it's minus a 36 instead of plus 36. Still get 15, and this time it'll be minus 48. So that's negative 56 over negative 33. My negatives cancel. 56 over 33. Notice it's okay for tangent to be greater than 1 or less than negative 1. Sine and cosine, that would be a big no-no. With tangent, it's fine. Let me point out one other thing here, and that is if I had taken my answers for sine alpha and cosine, do sine alpha plus beta divided by cosine alpha plus beta, 16 over 65, divide that by 63 over 65, the 65s would have canceled, and it gives me 16 over 63. Same thing with sine alpha minus beta, negative 56 over 65, divided by negative 33 over 65, the 65s cancel, the negatives cancel, 56 over 33 is my final answer there. Okay, that's a nice check. It's nice to be able to do this, but it's also a nice check to see that it works out okay. All right, I hope you are all doing well. I hope you're all being safe. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, good luck to you. Bye-bye.